In today's video, I will discuss denials, what to do when you get one, appeal, refile. And I understand how devastating it can be for people when they receive a denial in the mail. Their hopes, their dreams are crushed. Is there anything else that they can do? They had filed the petition or the application, such as of adjustment of status, and now comes the denial. Sometimes even before that, you get a notice of intent to deny or a notice of intent to revoke, and ultimately in comes the denial. So let's go through a couple of things that you can do or how to analyze what to do with a denial. And of course, I will recommend that when you get a denial, you should probably seek the advice and assistance of an attorney who can properly evaluate the case. And of course, if you find this video as well as my other videos helpful and informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So now let's go through an analysis. I think the first thing you need to do or determine is why was the case denied? In many cases, you receive multi-pages of the denial, and it is citing or quoting laws, regulations, and cases. And you're scratching your head because it is really boilerplate. They fill many, many pages just citing laws. In some cases, the reason for the denial can be a single sentence in one of the paragraphs. So you need to determine why it was denied. The next thing you need to evaluate is, were you eligible for the immigration benefit that you were applying for? Maybe you were not. For example, a spousal petition, but the person was still married to somebody else. An adoption petition, but the adoption took place after the 16th birthday. Those are among the things that you have to evaluate. Were you in any event eligible for the immigration benefit that you were applying for? Another item is, did you submit all the evidence and documents and proof necessary to show your eligibility for the immigration benefit? On the USCIS's website, when it comes to filing the various petitions and applications, they do list the necessary documentation. Obviously, if it's a marital petition, you better include a marriage contract. Family petitions, birth certificates. There are a whole host of other, quote, required documents. If you leave out those documents, in many cases, they will just go ahead and deny the case. In the old days, they might have issued a request for evidence or RFE, give you 87 days to respond. But under Trump, they're saying, you know what? We've told them what they need to submit. They didn't submit it. Just deny it. Let them deal with that later on. So make sure all the required documents and evidence demonstrating entitlement were included. Because one of the important things is when you appeal, ordinarily you are limited to the record on appeal. In other words, here's that denial, and now you're taking the case up to a higher body, the BIA, the AAO, or even courts. You are left with the evidence that you gave the immigration officer or adjudicator, because basically you're saying, I provided everything. I was entitled. They made a mistake. They denied it in error. But you have to rely on the evidence you gave. Sometimes people don't submit enough evidence. I've had many times people come to me and like the declarations proving eligibility are like 2 pages that hardly say anything. Don't show entitlement. And if you're going to appeal and you are limited to the record of appeal, maybe you did not give enough. And that could also play into whether you should appeal or refile. Another factor to consider is sometimes it's faster to refile a case than it is to appeal, because an appeal might take a year or more. You don't get a work authorization, and it gives you the chance to submit additional evidence if the first time that you submitted it was not enough. One of the most important things, I think, is the packaging of the paperwork. Make sure all the appropriate evidence and documents are well presented and it is clear to the adjudicator. Don't include things that are not relevant or maybe harmful to your case. Each document has to be thoroughly reviewed and analyzed. I mean, that's what we do in our office. Sometimes clients give us thick documents, letters, pictures, contracts, other legal things. They have to be thoroughly reviewed to make sure that they are relevant, meaning they have a bearing on the case, and they're not going to be harmful to the case either. I've seen many people submit documents without properly reviewing them, and it turned out to hurt their case. That's why an attorney is so important. But of course, you also have to bear in mind whether or not refiling could affect your status. Sometimes if you filed a petitioner application while you were in status, it gets denied for some reason. If you refile, you may already have been out of status. On the other hand, appealing could possibly keep you in status. But again, I think that would be something that an attorney should be analyzing or evaluating. And also, refiling in certain circumstances could result in a person getting a new priority date. Those are some of the factors, issues to take into account when you get a denial as to whether to appeal. And of course, you have a time limit to make that decision, usually 33 days. But those are some of the factors. It can be complex, and deciding whether to appeal or refile is something I believe you should consult with an attorney who can evaluate those various factors, determine the eligibility, determine the type of evidence and proof that is necessary to greatly increase your chances. Of course, attorneys cannot guarantee results, and I'm not guaranteeing results here, but I think that having an attorney assist you with something as important as your immigration matter, which is your future in America, your American dream, giving a better life for yourself as well as your family, especially your children. If they are outside the U.S. and you're looking to bring them to the U.S., it's all the more critical because you may have been separated for years and years. Those are some of the factors, and if you like this video, if you find it informative, make sure to like, share, and click the red button and subscribe. I'm Michael Gurfinkel, and this is U.S. Immigration TV.